Dear students of class 8, welcome to you all. Now, I like to discuss today the first chapter in history, that is how, when and where. Already in class 6, we have studied about ancient India, and also in class 7, medieval India. And we have seen the development of from primitive age to the medieval, and from medieval age to the modern age. You know that we have learned about the Stone Age and many other developments in the ancient period, Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic. Similarly, the Turco-Afghan period, various races came to India, established Sultanate and Delhi and Mughal rule. Now, we are going to describe the modern period. Modern period begins in almost from the 18th century. What are the major changes during the modern period? We see that if I say about the entire world, you see that the Renaissance first began. Renaissance is a French word. It means rebirth. Rebirth of classical literature. We see that the Greek and Roman literature had earned popularity at that time, and it developed in Italy first. The Renaissance first began in Italy, and from Italy it spread to different countries of the world. Moreover, Renaissance actually encouraged the people to judge everything in the light of reason. That is previously the medieval age is the age of blind faith. So, in place of blind faith, people began to judge everything in the light of reason. That is the major changes we find as a result of Renaissance. Next, Industrial Revolution. We all know that Industrial Revolution began in England in the mid of the 18th century. It means the radical change in the mode of production from handmade industries to machine-made industries. Various invention was made, that is power loom, water frame, spinning jenny, spinning mule. As a result of the cotton textiles productions in England increased. So, there is a great change in the process as a result of Industrial Revolution. Agriculture, mining, technology and scientific development, this change in this process is known as Industrial Revolution. Now, what resulted it? Already I have mentioned that Industrial Revolution began in England. Gradually, it spread to other parts of Europe, in North America, Germany, France and many other countries. We see that what happened as a result of this Industrial Revolution? We see that England now began to produce a huge number of cotton textile production, and we see that gradually they stopped the importing of products from outside the country, and also gradually we see that I should say England actually imported many things from outside, namely raw materials, etc., and particularly it is called mercantilism, meaning that gold, silver, etc. Gradually it stopped it, and now began to sell their products. They wanted to get markets, establish the markets in other colonial countries. So, meanwhile, we know England now decided to sell their finished products, machine-made products in other countries of the world. So, with the discovery of geographical discoveries, many countries participated in the geographical discoveries, mainly the Spain, Portugal, England, France, and many other countries. So, the discovery of sea routes accompanied by industrial revolution, and see that the change came in the throughout the world. A race began among the different European countries, colonial race began for the establishment of colonies in different parts of the world. They are searching for colonies so that they could sell their finished products and machine-made products in different countries. So, these searching for colonies, a race among the European powers was known as, gave birth to imperialism and colonialism. Gave birth to imperialism and colonialism. What is imperialism? When a powerful country dominates over a weak country and exploits it politically or establishes domination politically, economically, is known as imperialism. And what is colonialism? The process of exploiting the resources by a powerful country from a weak country. This process was known as colonialism. So, gradually we see that this colonization, process of British colonization in India. India became a colony of Great Britain, but how did it? How actually India became the colony of Great Britain? We see that with the aim of actually developing trade relations with India, British came as a trading power. And East India Company was granted, the English East India Company was granted by Elizabeth I, the charter of trade in the year 1600. Now in 1615, Sir Thomas Roe, an envoy of James I, the British monarch, came to India and he secured from Jahangir, the Mughal emperor, trading right. Now we see that similarly the Mughal emperor Farrukh Shah in 1717 granted free trading right to the East India Company, and that also facilitated their establishment of trading centers in India. Similarly, I may mention that Shah Alam II granted Diwani right in 1765 to Robert Clive, that is English East India Company. So, in this way, British was gradually establishing their control over trade and commerce in India. Now British gradually turned into from traders to the master of Indian subcontinent, because in the year 1757 they defeated Siraj ud-Dowla in the Battle of Plassey, and thus we see that gradually they have also established the domination in Bengal, not only in Bengal but also other parts of northern India, when they defeated Mir Qasim and other powers in the Battle of Buxar in 1764. So, this is how the colonization began. And now British realized that, because I should have mentioned earlier that why they decided to sell their products in India, because India is full of resources and very rich in natural resources or raw materials, and a good market for Britain. So, this is how we see that the British colonization in India began. Now, what is termed colony already, and process of colonization already I have discussed. So, already the colonization began. We know that colony is actually the term colony denotes when a country is ruled by a powerful country and establishes political and economic dominance So, this process or dominance, and it also establishes its dominance over its cultural, political, economic lives of the people. This process can be called colonization. However, process of deindustrialization in India. We know that India in the 18th century was a very prosperous country. India used to see that sell their products like the cotton textiles and silk throughout the world. India had a worldwide fame for cotton textiles and silk industries. So, the British could not compete with the Indian goods, which was Indian goods much more superior. However, after the Industrial Revolution in England, the scenario was completely changed. The British now wanted to sell their products in India. That's why they decided. So, naturally, the British products are very cheap and they could produce in bulk number, and gradually the machine made products of England flooded the Indian market, and thus the Indian weavers could not compete with the cheap products of England. Gradually, this is how, and moreover the other policies, they adopted several other policies. Gradually they destroyed our indigenous industries, our cottage industries, our cotton industries, and thus this process of destruction of cottage industries was known as deindustrialization. Now, what was the result of it? As a process of it, our industries, our several indigenous industries were completely ruined, and thus many people became unemployed, and thus it also destroyed our economy, self-sufficient economy. Now, we see that India under the British rule and birth of nationalism. Now, what happened? Already I have mentioned earlier that gradually when initially they came as a trader, later they became the master of our subcontinent. They defeated Siraj-ud-Dowla, Mir Qasim, Shujā-ud-Dowla of Awadh and Shah Alam to a Mughal emperor in the battle of Plassey and Buxar respectively. They also defeated the Marathas, Sikhs and Mysoreans, and gradually became the master of Indian subcontinent. Now, this is how they also introduced uniform system of administration and uniform laws, a centralized administration, and thus they decided in order to exploit the Indian resources, in order to establish their political dominance of the economic dominance of the Indian people. However, gradually their exploitation, the revenue, in the field of revenue, in the field of other places, made the people rebellious. The tribal people revolted several times, and now we see that in 1857 local rulers, provincial rulers supported by the people revolted against the British. And for the first time we see that the people realized that in order to end the British rule, they must organize a rebellion, or I can say that they wanted to overthrow the British rule by organizing a revolt or rebellion. So, the different provincial rulers, different kings from different areas of India supported by the people revolted. Thus, we see that love for nation and love for nation developed in the minds of the people, and they now wanted to free themselves from the foreign rule. This idea can be called nationalism. In this way, we see that later, we see that in this way, I can mention the name of sources of Indian history. Sources we can be classified. Already we know the sources are the clues that help us to reconstruct the history. It is the official sources and surveys, administrative sources, and non-administrative sources are the biographies, autobiographies, and novels, literary writings, and newspapers, films, and paintings. However, I see that gradually we see that the official records maintained by the Britishers meticulously in the form of archives and museums, official records, and surveys. Actually, the British thought surveys would help them to administer the country properly. The topography, the quality of soil, and many other things which help them. Moreover, we see that non-administrative sources are the biographies, autobiographies. Namely, I can mention the name of biographies written by Prabhat Kumar Chattopadhyay, and also autobiography written by Bipin Chandra Pal, 70 Bachar, and autobiographies also I may mention the Stree Purush Tulona by Tarabai Sindhe, and Sarala Devi Chaudharani wrote Jibone Jharapata, Raj Sundari Devi wrote Amar Jibon. These are the examples. And novels, you know that I can mention the Pathet Dabi by Sharachandra Chattopadhyay, Bhudev Chattopadhyay, Onguriya Binimoy, and also Bankim Chandra's Anandamat is famous. The newspapers, I can mention the name of Sangbad Kaumudi and Miratul Akbar, edited by Ram Mohan Roy. Then, namely, Bal Gangadhar Tilak edited Maratha and Keshwari. Similarly, I can mention the films, the pioneer in the films industry or film. My father of film actually Indian cinema was Dada Saheb Phalke. I may mention, we see that similarly Satyajit Ray's Pather Panchali is the most important documentary film. And paintings, in the film of paintings, field of paintings, I may mention the name of Ravi Varma, Raja Ravi Varma, and Abanindranath Tagore. Abanindranath Tagore's Bharat Mata is famous as a painting. And this is how we see that I have forgotten to mention one important thing in the literary portion, that Munshi Premchand. Munshi Premchand also is, you see that highlighted the condition of the peasants, the miserable condition of peasants in his book Godan. So thank you all. So I have made the brief discussion. If necessary, I shall elaborate it later. Thank you all.